Hello, everyone. This is Nidhi from Design Hill, your host for the day. I hope you and your family are keeping well and safe. And I'd like to welcome you all in this session where we are discussing all about branding and PR and the best communication practices to increase business viability. Today's event is brought to you by Design Hill, world's leading creative marketplace that caters to the creative needs of businesses and individuals alike, who can source high quality designs and designs from professional designers and buy unique products created by independent artists. So, moving ahead, let me introduce our guest for today. We have Catherine is a senior leader in marketing and communication strategies. She helps companies develop clear, tailored programs that are data driven and powerful. With 15 years of hands-on experience in reputation management, media relations, and brand positioning, she brings a comprehensive and diverse palette of skill sets backed by a cultural intelligence that embraces innovation in the global marketplace. She believes that connectivity, agility, quality is important for companies to be successful, and a communication strategy must have all three. As technology continues to dramatically change the field of public relations, businesses need to listen and engage with the customers to not only survive but thrive. She looks forward to continue to provide an exciting and distinguishable twist and story to the products and services that she markets and brands. Catherine, welcome to the session.
Thank you. Thank you so much for having me. Thank you to Design Hill as well. I'm so excited to be partnering with you today.
Great, great. Great. So before we start the session, here is a quick update. Guys, you can take the screenshot of this event and post it on your Insta story and tag Design Hill DH. One lucky winner will have a chance to win a print shop gift card worth $50. Along with that, as a gesture of appreciation that you could join us for the event, we have some special offers for you. Keep an eye on our chat section to get your offer. Moving ahead, let's quickly look at what Design Hill is all about.
Need to get your parents off your back? Head to the world's #1 creative marketplace, Design Hill.
When I started my photography business, I needed something that said, this was more than just a hobby. It's not a hobby, Mom. That's why I went to Design Hill and got an amazing logo super fast at a price I could afford. The process was easy using Design Hill's logo maker. Just enter the name of your business, then pick out a number of designs that inspire you. I'll pick this one and that one looks cute. Then pick your colors or let the system decide. Add some more info like a slogan, the industry your business is in, and your budget. The logo maker, using machine learning and artificial intelligence, will design thousands of logo variants that you can choose from and adapt. In fact, I was able to get everything from business cards to t-shirt design and complete social media kit, all with the click of a button. With that, I'm all set. Now everyone I meet knows I'm a legit photographer. Even my mom. It's real. That's decaf.
Let the world know it's real and build your brand with Design Hill.
All right, that was all about Design Hill, and we are set to start the session now. Guys, one more quick thing. We will take up questions during the session. If you have any, please feel free to drop them in the questions tab on your screen, not on the chat section, because then there it can get lost. Please on the questions tab, and we will take it up time and again during the session. So I'm going to straight away jump on to the questions, Catherine, starting with, you know, so a lot of businesses on Design Hill, they are early age startups and entrepreneurs. I wanted to know from you that what is the correct time and stage for any business to start indulging and investing in branding and PR efforts? So we'll kind of a larger level as to what early age startups need to do to be able to make the most of branding and PR efforts.
Sure, absolutely. So when you're starting out, you should always think big, but you can act small. So you have to really think about who your audience is, for instance. You have to think about how it will be perceived on the local, national, and international level. And then, once you've established your business, you really want to start branding yourself and start reaching out to the community and on social media networks. And this is what I mean by acting small. So what the small things that you could do, for instance, is doing paid media ads on social media. They don't cost very much, but they can be incredibly effective because it allows you time and to really see how your brand is getting out there within the community, and then how people are responding to it and how much reach you're getting. And if you are actually targeting the correct audience for your services and your products. I would shy away from public relations efforts just while you're starting out until you figure out what your story is and how you want to tell your story. And this is incredibly important because you want to be consistent in the way that you tell your story at all times. I would also say, that not all PR firms, for instance, can get you traction on every story that you pitch media. And they'll be the first ones to tell you that as well. So it's sometimes a hit or miss, and sometimes it's based on luck. I mean, it really depends. So I would say, think big, but act small by doing social media, paid advertisements. You could easily do $25, you could do $50, and you can really see how impactful you are doing and with your brand at that time.
All right. I really like that aspect that you said that, branding can be started. We should be looking at a later stage, maybe, and not as soon as the business start. Right. That's a great answer. Yeah. You want to add anything to it, Catherine?
I was going to add to it, when you are really starting your own business, some of the things that you want to think about are, like, for instance, what colors do you want? And, even back in your advertisement, you talk about, say this photographer who really wanted to start her own business, and she went onto your website and she looked at all the various logos. Well, when you're thinking about the type of logo that you want for your business, think about as well the colors. What colors scheme do you want? Do you want a primary color, a secondary color? Do you want an accent color? And then when you're putting together your branding, it's really important that you keep consistent with it. So find something that you really like and stick with it, because you can't just go along and then a year later decide, I'm going to change my branding, because you've already built a base of people who recognize your brand. So think about all of that very thoroughly and upfront when you are establishing your business, and how you want to establish your brand, what it looks like, the look and feel of it. And that will all really work out well for you in the very beginning if you think all of it through.
Great. Thank you so much for your answer. So my next question is going to be about PR. Like you said that, so you said that initially it is not a good idea to indulge into PR, but once a business is into, 5-6 years into the business, then what are some of the best practices to research and identify the right PR platforms for a business? What are the things to be kept in mind?
Absolutely. So when you've established your story and you have a story to tell, you want to talk about the products or services that you're offering, how it's helping the community. What's going to go a long way is if you utilize 3 different types of platforms that I usually know a lot about. And it's, for instance, PR Newswire. This is where you could pay a minimal amount and you put it out there over the wire, and it reaches a whole bunch of different reporters. And you want to be specific to whatever your product is to try and reach those reporters, because you'll get the best bang for your buck that way. Business Wire, that is more specific to business related type of situations and stories. So investor relations, public policy, and marketing professionals will rely on Business Wire, for instance, for accurate distribution. And, the news is constantly moving, it's revolving. So, things get lost. So you just kind of have to just be very strategic in the times that you are sending out this press release as well. And then also Newswire. So that's specific to pop culture news, music, TV, and gaming. And those are the 3 that, are well known out in the PR world.
Great. I hope, the marketeers and the business people are taking notes of that 3 names that you mentioned to get started with. And with that, I'll jump on to my next question, which is about, measuring the impact. I mean, you are done with your branding, you are done, you have initiated your PR efforts. How do we start measuring the impact? I mean, how can we quantify our PR and branding efforts to money? I mean, to convert it to something which is measurable. So how do we do that?
Yeah, so usually there are, excuse me, 6 impactful ways that you can see how well your PR efforts are working and kind of the best bang for your buck, and how much visibility you are getting for your brand. So website traffic, when you are establishing your company, for instance, you get a logo, you register your company. And then you want to start building your website. And this is what I was talking about, when you figure out the look and feel of what you want your business to look like, this is where it's really important that you build that website to also look like, your logo, and it all fits together. There aren't any random fonts, for instance, you are very consistent in your look and feel, in the color scheme, all across the board to, what fonts you're using, and then not only that, but like sizing too, making sure that all the sizings are the same. So when you build this website, you can look at the back end to see how much traffic you're actually getting on your website. And this provides an excellent gauge of how your campaign, your PR, your branding efforts are going. And then I would say the second one would be market surveys. And you can see out in the community how that is working and how impactful, your brand is within the community. And then the number of backlinks, and for people who aren't familiar, backlinks are incoming links to a web page that tend to rank higher on search engines such as Google and whatnot. So, and then the other is higher rankings for specific keywords. So, you'll have keywords for your branding. Make sure that you are consistent with that, because, that's what's going to be picked up online and whatnot. And then media monitoring. And then last but not least is social media monitoring and measurement. Digital and social media are an integral part of PR and branding. So, you can see, for instance, like if you are on LinkedIn, you can see how well you are doing in terms of, how you're putting your messaging out, what your brand is how it's doing, if it's getting a lot of traction. So I would say that those are the 6 integral ways of PR and branding.
Great, Catherine. I mean, these are really good insights, and I'm sure that they are very, very useful to the people and the business the entrepreneurs that are there in the people section right there. So yes, moving on to the next question, Catherine. Again, it is related to the previous question only. We often hear of the term media monies, where a prospective collaborator, especially in case of barters, ask us to convert our cross-branding efforts into media monies. How is that done? I mean, I'm sure you have covered a big part of it in your previous answer, but if you could please throw some more light on that.
Sure. Well, collaborations can be incredibly important to your brand. It helps you reach more audiences. It helps you reach people that you would never be able to get an opportunity to have them see your brand, your product, your services. So, a lot of the collaborations, for instance, you want to find people who have the same values as you, who are reaching the same types of audiences as you. And you want to be able to reach out to them and say, hey, look, I've got this brand, or I've got this service that I really want to try and get out there. Can we collaborate? So for instance, like I will put your information out there on the websites. And then if you can do the same for me, and then you kind of cross reference your audiences, and it helps you get a wider base. And I would say that, one really good example of a collaboration, and I'm going to kind of go into a story about this, and I'm sure many people know about it because this was a while ago, but it was with Apple, the product Apple. And when they came out with the iPhone 6, they had collaborated with the band U2. And U2 had not come out with any new albums for quite some time. And so when they made this big presentation about, the Apple iWatch and the iPhone 6, they brought on U2, and everybody got a new album from U2, and they didn't put it out through any other recording label. They put it out through iTunes. So this was a great collaboration because this not only got U2 back on the stage, no pun intended, but it really allowed for people to say, wow, U2 is still around, and hey, we're able to get this new album without paying for it. And so it was something kind of out of the box that Apple had come up with, and it was very smart, and it got a lot of visibility for Apple brand, but also for the U2 brand. And then I would say, in terms of influencers, for instance, you hear a lot about Instagram influencers. And so if you want an influencer to get your brand out there, find somebody who you think really has the same values, because this is incredibly important. You don't want to just go to a whole bunch of people and say, can you please put out, I'm new, I want my brand to reach everybody, just put it out there. You have to be incredibly strategic, and you have to be consistent in how you are reaching people. So either they'll reach out to you or you reach out to them, but you really want to make sure that you all have the same values. And I can't stress that enough, because as you go along with your brand, you don't want to say, whoops, I made a mistake, or somebody has created a crisis communications issue for my own brand, and it's something that you can't come back from. So you want to make sure that you are very careful as well.
Great. And a lot of what you said, we are doing similar things at Design Hill also, because we are on a spree of cross promotions of this DIY Design Hill tool called Studio that we have recently launched, and we are actually doing a lot of it that you said. And hearing from an expert like you kind of reinstate the fact that we are doing it right. So thank you so much for such such nice inputs. Catherine, I'll quickly jump on to the next question. Also, guys, I can't see any questions on the questions tab. Please do not write anything on chat as far as questions are concerned, because they can get lost there. Please feel free to ask any questions that you may have. Okay, we have one now, but we'll take it in some time. Catherine, I'm moving on to the next question quickly. A lot of our registrants, they wanted to know about brand positioning via effective storytelling. Again, you covered a bit of it, in the stories that you told a little while back. Could you please again throw some light on it? I mean, any experiences, again, any anecdotes? We loved your Apple U2 story, but just emphasize a little more on how effective storytelling can help position a brand more effectively.
Sure, absolutely. So I would say that, I know I've mentioned consistency a lot already, but in PR, that is incredibly important, and same thing with your branding. So I would say that, come up with your message points and make sure that everybody's on the same page within your team on those message points, because you can't go back. So once you put it out to the public, it's out there. So, you want to figure out like what type of style that you want to direct towards your audience. And then your brand voice, is it true to your brand's values and persona? And it could be playful, it could be serious, it could be highbrow or humorous. And then go ahead and tell your story. So share how your company or brand is impacting others. How is it making a difference? And how is it changing lives for the better? And then tell your story in a way that captures your brand voice and resonates with the target audience. So I'm going to tell you, and I'm sure many people already know this story, but long time ago, Chevrolet in America had put out the Chevy Nova car. And in English, Nova means new. But when they tried to put the new car out into Latin America countries, in Spanish, Nova, depending on how you pronounce it, it comes out as it doesn't go. And so they couldn't understand why their car wasn't selling in Latin America. And supposedly the story goes that, they had made a mistake, you know, that they had thought this would be so successful because they were bringing out a new car and everybody was going to be excited about it. But you really want to think about, when you're coming up with all of this, think about how it could be translated into different languages, into different countries. One other example is that I was traveling and I was abroad, and it was a country with the Cyrillic alphabet. And I happened to be standing in line at the grocery store, and I see in big letters, BARF, B-A-R-F. And it was for a detergent, and it was in English. And I got such a kick out of it. But I thought, why am I going to buy something that I'm going to clean using BARF? So when I say think big, think about how your brand and how you could position it not only locally, nationally, but internationally too, because you can't go back on that. It becomes kind of a PR nightmare to make changes to it. So you just want to think all of these things through, be very strategic in the way that you want to message your audience on a local, national, or international level.
I absolutely love those incredible stories, and we have limited time, and I could listen to those stories forever. But we will quickly jump on to the next question.
Sure.
Okay, so the next question is about, there's this phrase which says any publicity is good publicity, and there would be things that are ethically not right to do, but they're still done for it may have a high chance to grab high balls. What is your take on such practices? I mean, they are unethical for sure, but practically, do PR machinery for organizations or for people do that very often?
So I would say that not all publicity is good publicity, and nor do you want it. Because if you put publicity out there and you have not thought of every single angle that you possibly can, it could come back and bite you. And it becomes really difficult to change your image to come back from a crisis situation. So, when you are in a situation like that, that's when I would most definitely have a PR firm on speed dial to help you, because the news moves so incredibly fast that if you don't have a team that is there helping you to kind of regain your reputation and help you with any kind of efforts to get back on track right away, it will be really, really difficult to come back from that. So, I've learned my lesson this way. I thought that when I first was starting out in this industry, I thought that it would be incredibly easy to just be able to put whatever news out there about the services. We had great products and whatnot, but we weren't prepared for the repercussions that some of that might happen. So we weren't prepared for answering some of those questions. So you have to, I've learned this from experience, and over time, I've just figured out, okay, we've got to really look at this from every single angle. How can this be perceived in whatever country you're in, to abroad, to, making sure that we are picking through every single message so that it can't have any kind of negative connotation. So I'm just sharing that from past experiences, so that you don't have to kind of go through those pain points as well, as you live and learn.
Right. And right when you say that, it reminds me of a beauty brand. I'm not going to disclose the name, of course, but there was this beauty brand which was only meant for fair-skinned women. And several years into their business, like they say that, the people around, they are digital savvy, and they have access to social media tools more than ever. So it did not go down well with the people, and the brand dropped overnight. And then it is generally presumed that PR machinery should be most active when things go wrong. So a little I'm going to talk a little more about that. So do you think is PR strategy only for those people or brands who have made a mistake and want to sanitize their image only? Is it the very time where PR machinery should be the most active? I'm sure it's not the case, but obviously You need to have, you know, strategic PR efforts in place to be able to get rid of that. So if you could please throw some light on that as well.
Yeah, I would say that, PR is a constant effort. So, paying attention to all the details, not only for your branding, but also for your stories and, how you are conveying it out to the public. It all needs to be very constant. But I would say, for increasing your visibility, especially as you're starting out, as you're saying that the audience is really starting out in their businesses, or they're putting their brands out there, and how to do it. I would say that, that's something that they could easily do themselves, and internally, and the way to do that is by establishing relationships with the media. So, one of the things that I've always loved in all of my jobs is establishing relationships and connecting with reporters, for instance, so that I'm on their speed dial. If you can be on their speed dial, you're in a great position to be. So I don't think that PR is only for a mistake. I think that it's something that you could do internally, where you establish these relationships. And I can share that, for instance, my business partner and I, we worked in healthcare, and during the time of the Affordable Care Act, which came out a few years ago, we were working for a healthcare agency, and I pitched the reporters that said, hey, I have a chief medical officer here who could answer your questions anytime that you need. And so whenever things were coming out after the Affordable Care Act, she would constantly call me. It didn't matter what day or what night time, she needed somebody that she could interview and that she trusted, and that, we provided them sometimes with talking points so that they knew to kind of keep our brand out there, get the name of the organization out there, but then also be very consistent with the way that he was putting the messages out. So I think you could do that very internally and at a smaller level. And I would say, with PR firm, like, really research PR firms. And that way, if you need any assistance right away, you can contact a PR firm that can help you kind of get back on track with your image, for sure.
Sure, sure. And speaking of the good PR firms that we have in place, I'm gonna ask Catherine to share, the access link to your website, because it is one of the best, OP Creative Communications, and you guys can have more access to Catherine's guidance and services on that website. So please, Catherine.
Absolutely, thank you.
Wow. So guys, it's here for you. You would have received a pop-up on the screen. Please visit OP Creative Communications to have more access to Catherine's services and guidance. With that, I'm gonna take one or two questions on the questions tab, and we have one of our regular. I'm gonna take your question, which is, how do you get past the small perception of a startup? Is there a way to easily get past the resistance to a new brand? I mean, I'm sure, Catherine, you would have understood it, right?
Yes.
Sure, then please go ahead.
So I would say that, a way to get past your perception of the startup is that, you kind of have to power through, and it might take a long time, but building a brand does not happen in a day. I can tell you that breaking down a brand can happen in a day, but building a brand will never take just one day. It will take a long time. And so you have to be really patient and power through. I would say, if you feel like you are not getting past the resistance, then maybe try something else, such as, doing some paid media. Why don't you put it out there within a small section of your community and see how the brand is getting out there, and how are people really understanding it? How are they reacting to it? Are they understanding, and you feel like it's really simple for them to understand? It kind of allows you to pick through some of the the situations that you might have within your brand or your company that allows you to kind of tailor it as needed. And you can start small that way.
All right, Ko, I hope that answers your question. And we'll move ahead with the next question, which is by Alishai. I hope I'm pronouncing that right. So she says, when you start out with a new startup and want to brand your business, should one conduct service and find out what the people want, or just skip the hassle and do whatever the owner wants and see what works? Yeah, so please go ahead, Catherine.
So if you're being strategic, you definitely want to put it out there, to see how it's going to be responded to. Surveys are always great, but I would say, in a lifetime where you could choose what you want to do, how you want to impact people, that's what you really need to focus on. You can always tailor it based on the needs of the public. And, I would say, you definitely want to find something that you enjoy doing, what you put out there and how it impacts people, and that you feel good about. So I would say focus on, your business, and then go to conducting surveys to see how best to respond to get it out there to the public.
Cool. Alishai, I hope that answers your question. And with that, I hope you guys are enjoying the session. But before we move forward, I'd like to give a quick shout out to Design Hill, which is world's leading creative marketplace for organizing this event. Let's take a quick short break and keep this interesting conversation going on.
Clarematics is a full-service video agency based around video production. We created a brand that fit our identity at the time, but as we've evolved as a company, we found that original brand didn't quite fit our aspirations anymore. Finding a partner to rebrand your entire company takes a lot of time and effort. Finding Design Hill was an incredible lifeline. Design Hill offers a money-back guarantee. If we don't like any of the designs, we get all of our money back. The stuff that we ended up with were well beyond what we had been seeing on other creative services platforms. After creating a simple design brief by answering some questions created by Design Hill, we posted, and within a few days, we had over 250 entries. Design Hill's platform made it easy to communicate with all of the potential designers. Eventually, we picked a winner. In addition to a logo, our designer also created a letterhead, business cards, and banners for all of our social media platforms. With Design Hill's help, we now have a brand that meets our aspirations. We're ready for the future and everything that it's here to bring.
Wow. So all the business owners, where to head for the branding strategy in terms of making logos and everything else. It's designhill.com. So let's continue with the session. We have a lot more questions to be asked. Catherine, I'm gonna. It's also one of the questions asked in the questions tab by Alicia again. The words brand strategy and PR are used interchangeably, with not many knowing the difference between the two. So suppose for a large scale organizational disaster, let's say, it has happened in an organization, the PR people are the only concerned, they are only concerned about the company's image and not necessarily the brand strategy during the recuperation phase. How does the organization and the people have to start with actually telling us the difference between the two, brand strategy and PR?
Yeah, so brand strategy is constant. That's just something that you always have to do, and you always have to think on your feet, and always have to think of every single angle every single day. So, I would say every day you, as a representative of your company, organization, your product, your program, service, cause, whatever it might be, you are always constantly building your brand and your reputation. So PR professionals, they can help you keep your reputation intact, and they can help you elevate to the next level. And I would say that, it is really up to you to decide what your brand strategy might be and how you want to carry it through on a consistent basis. And then a PR firm can also help you be more strategic, tactile, and move past conflict.
All right, all right. Yes, that clears a lot of the question being asked, and also Alicia, I saw her commenting on the chat section. So I hope it helps, Alicia. I'll quickly move to the next question, which is about the times that we are living in. I mean, given the pandemic, the market. How do you think, Catherine, the brand marketeers and PR professionals can pace up their agility? Like, you are someone who have worked on the agility part a lot. Uh, that, and also, do you see any foresee any challenges in the social media landscape or public relations?
Yeah, I would say that brand marketers and PR professionals are always having to tailor their craft to best accommodate the brand. It's pandemic or no pandemic, they're always having to do that. The world is constantly on the move, and some people think that they might have the best product for today, but tomorrow might change and they might not. So, you really have to think outside of the box at all times and be very creative and figure out how to angle your story, your product or service, and how it makes the most impact. So, like I said, you need to move very quickly and easily. And that's where the agility comes in, and be incredibly adaptable. If you wait, you might miss an opportunity to build a brand that people recognize. So, when I say, like, think of every single angle, you have to think of every single angle quickly. And you just have to be able to put it out there. So, I would say one of the examples is, most of the people we know, they've seen this viral video, and it's just recent. For instance, it's this man who, his car won't work, so he just picks up his skateboard. He's got to get to work, and he is drinking Ocean Spray Cran Raspberry and, lip syncing to Fleetwood Mac's Dream song. And the video is really short. It's like 15 minutes. Well, he posted at his lunchtime, and then in no time, he gets 400,000 hits on TikTok. And then in no time, it's 18 million views on TikTok. So Ocean Spray jumped on this opportunity to be able to get their brand out there. They reached out to him right away. They donated a truck to him, and they put it into a PR opportunity where they donated cartons full of Ocean Spray Cran Raspberry juice. So, I mean, he's probably stocked for the next 100 years at this point. But what it did was that it allowed for Ocean Spray to be the hero, to, show that they really cared about somebody. And, it gave them an opportunity to become relevant again. Same thing with Fleetwood Mac. Their sales just skyrocketed. And so, people really benefited from this 15-second video. And ultimately, the man who lost his car, he got a new car, and he benefited from it. And people are reaching out to him and saying, hey, how can I help you? So I would think that, think about, when you put this out there, what the possible outcomes could be, right? And then react to it.
Right. Yes, I did see that video, and Ko just said that, would love that to fall into my lap. So yes, that's an amusing tale. So Catherine, before we take more questions from the questions tab, I have a few more left with me. So I'm going to talk a little about personal branding. I mean, the people who lead businesses. Could you please give us some tips on carving and maintaining a personal brand? And then we have a few more questions related to it.
Sure. Well, it really depends on, are you your brand, or is it your product or service that is the brand? I would say, if you are your brand, just constantly think that, you need to put yourself out there in the community. You need to put yourself out there in the public, and you have to really represent your brand at all times. And so, when you are coming up with any kind of situation, just always make it positive. And this is a great way to get yourself out there as well as a spokesperson. So your name is associated with your brand. You are the spokesperson. You are attending events. Your name is associated with your product or service and your brand. And if people like you, they'll like your brand. So really utilize yourself as the brand and as, the sponsor of the brand.
Right. Likewise, the brand ambassadors that businesses actually a lot of time, get into contract with, because they have a lot of, face value in terms of likability amongst the people, and then these especially celebrities promoting a particular brand or something.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
So again, it's a very funny question. I mean, I find it funny. It could be it could be much more meaningful. One of the registrants actually asked that, do you think we need to show a lot of face like in a video in order to increase branding?
Yeah, I mean, I would say this is where it really depends on if it is you that is the brand, because if you are the brand, your face is associated with the brand. So, I would say, take any opportunity to get your face out there so that people can see and associate your face with your brand.
And I think it was more with respect to people that, they're really good business people, but then, they are introverts, personally. So that's something that, they actually need to look into. Um, Again, these are a few of the last questions that we are left with. Catherine, you've been into the business for so many years now. What do you think are some of the common mistakes you see professionals doing in the space of PR and branding?
Absolutely. I see a lack of consistency a lot of times. So, that could be from when you're creating, say, you're starting out your business, you are creating a website that might have multiple fonts. You might have, different colors schemes, because say you like a whole bunch of colors and you want it to be colorful, but how is that going to impact the viewer? Are they going to be able to see all the colors? If you use white on a gray, is it going to be able to be seen? If you use blues and reds and purples and greens, are people going to be able to see that on your website? So, really think about being very, minimal and consistent with that. And then I would also see, the lack of logo placement. So if someone is really trying to build their brand, they want to put it in, say, like the left-hand corner of all their collateral materials, all their marketing materials. If they start putting it around in different places, people are like, well, is this the same company? Is this the same brand? It's not what I'm used to. So, figure out where you want to position your logo. And then I would highly recommend as you're starting out, you could just easily put together a branding guide. And this guide kind of keeps you on track with how you want to put your brand out. So your branding guide could involve like what fonts you're going to use, to what size you're going to use, color scheme, what your look and feel is, what your message points are. And so as your company grows, then your employees can see that branding guide, and sure, you can make modifications, but that is keeping your employees on track for branding consistently out there. So and also I would say, utilize the photo that best represents your product, service, and brand. And I can use an example. As I was working with a client in California, and they wanted to really highlight their product, which was outside. So they wanted to use a sunset. And I thought, okay, well, I see this picture. However, it's a sunset on the East Coast. So I knew by the light that it was a sunset on the East Coast. And I thought, there's no way that people are going to understand that whatever product we're trying to sell on the West Coast, but yet we're using a visual on the East Coast, that people are going to believe it. So find a visual that people are going to relate to and understand, and use it to your advantage. And I would say that those are the main things that I see people make common mistakes about.
Great. Yes, so we completely agree with that. I'm gonna pick a few questions from the questions tab. Okay, this one has got 4 upvotes by Carol Stephen. When you have limited funds, how can you utilize social media alone to grow your brand?
So I think, when you're using social media, it can really be very effective for you. So maybe if you could, and I'm just going to use $5, for instance, and you could just, start out really small. So you can really target, say, who you are trying to reach. And maybe that target audience is where you live, where you work. Try that first, and then see if you can grow that. Maybe put another $5 in social media for getting your word out there.
Great, Carol. I hope that answers your question. Okay, this one is being asked by Kemar Daswell. Not sure if it is, I'm sure it is related to public relation, but he says that how important is it? I think he's asking from the perspective of someone who wants to get into public relations. And I hope, Kemar, that's what your question means. And Catherine, if you can please answer that.
Sure. So I would say that, if you're in project management, going into PR is great because, you really have to kind of consider this as a big project that you are managing. So, from like the PR people that you are managing to the media that you're managing, reporting, but it's also about, getting more visibility for yourself. And something that I haven't mentioned before, which might be helpful to some of the audience, is, say like doing email newsletters, talking about what your story is, to, what products you're trying to sell, and so if you are starting out in project management and you're wanting to go into public relations, that is an easy shoe in, if that's the way that I'm understanding the question.
I hope, Kemar, that's what you're going to take up the last question of the session, which is by Ko again. He has a very relevant question, actually. He says that, is there a way to establish email contacts outside of social media and walk in business?
Yeah, so you can actually purchase media lists that have email contacts. So you can purchase them, and it could be specific to whatever your product service is, so that you are actually targeting your audience from the get-go. So you can purchase emails. That's a good way to start out and start reaching out to people. So I would also say that, when you're coming up with a strategy, for instance, with your social media, say you want to put out to your social media, say for $5, but then you also want to send out an email, and you want to try and do it strategically. So say you put out your email at 9 o'clock in the morning, and then, you put out on social media the same type of message points, but just condensed. And because we know that words count, right? And you want to put it out like soon afterwards, so that there might be an opportunity for people to see it multiple times. And that's what you want. You want people to see your brand, your product, service, cause multiple times for them to finally go, oh, right, I know about them. I want to learn more.
Great. I hope, Ko, that answers your question. And wow, what an insightful session. I didn't realize, with all those stories and anecdotes and tales by Catherine, we are already 50 minutes into the session. We are almost about to end as well. So, guys, this finally brings us to the end of this wonderful session. This was indeed a value-packed session, although there's a lot more that we could have discussed. Unfortunately, we are limited by time here. I hope you guys loved the session. Once again, I'd like to thank Catherine for taking out the time to be a part of this event. She actually prepared really hard, and we can only be thankful to her. Catherine, can you please, quickly say bye to the audiences, and if you have any thoughts on your mind?
Yeah, no, thank you so much for having me. And it's just been such a pleasure to work with Design Hill, and thank you so much for all of your your help, Nindy. I would say, this has been an incredible opportunity to reach people from all around the world. I've seen people that have been posting on the chat. They're from Pakistan, from the Bahamas, from Florida. So this has really been very insightful and incredibly a wonderful opportunity. So thank you so much for having me. And I would also say that, if anybody has any questions, I can post my LinkedIn profile. And I usually post a lot of advice on, marketing, communications, branding, PR, fundraising. So all of those, tips, just let's connect on LinkedIn, and I'll post that as well.
Sure. We have already shared Catherine's LinkedIn profile on the chat section. Catherine, you want to quickly do a CTA for the audiences?
Absolutely. Doing it right now.
Please do.
It's for some reason not taking it.
All right. We have anyways shared Rashmi has already shared Catherine's LinkedIn's profile on the chat section. So that's perfectly fine, Catherine. All right, guys. This is not where it ends. We have a lot more events lined up for you in the coming days. The next event is a session on sales funnel and how you can increase your sales with effective tips and strategies. So if you guys are interested and haven't registered yet, I'm putting the link of our event section in the chat section, where you can find all our upcoming events. And please register to receive your recording. To stay updated with events like these, you can follow us on our LinkedIn page. You can also give us suggestions on the topics that you would like us to cover and the speakers you want us to host. I'm dropping the link of our LinkedIn page also in the chat section. The team will be putting it. To watch this session and other such wonderful sessions, subscribe to our event section on designhill.com/events or visit our official YouTube channel at Design Hill. You can find the link in the chat section again. For all business owners who are listening to this and wish to source high quality graphic designs and build their brand today, you to be. Also, we have recently launched a DIY creative tool called Design Hill Studio. Be it a designer or a non-designer, everyone can create beautiful designs such as business collaterals, presentations, social media posts, banners, and almost everything that you can think of. On that note, I would like to say bye to everyone who joined us here today. Take care, guys, and stay safe. And Catherine, once again, we love having you here. Thank you so much.
Thank you.